And welcome to Liquid Lunch. It's me, Hugh, and it's Friday, and so we're having a liquid lunch here, but Hildegard's not here today. She could have come, but we're just having a low-key, relaxed show today with a couple of guests, and our first guest is in from Kingston, Reverend Vanessa-Ophelia-Rigault, and it's great to have you here.
Thank you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Having a great day?
Well, you were thinking that I was having so much fun.
Why are you having fun?
I'm not having that much fun.
Oh, that's too bad.
I know.
Well, let's have fun now.
Yeah, let's have fun now.
I'm here. You should be having fun.
I'm starting to have more fun.
Good, good.
Anyway, so let's get into it. You're a reverend, right?
Yes.
You used to live in Scarborough, but now you live in Kingston.
So, a quick story of my life. I was born in Trinidad, and I came here with my mom, and we ended up in Scarborough.
Wait, how old were you when you came?
6 years old.
6 years old. Were you excited about coming?
Yes.
Really?
And no.
And no.
Because all I knew, my mom traveled, and all I knew that where she went was in a snow globe, because she used to bring back these little snow globes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I came to Montreal, and I was 6 years old. And I remember distinctively looking at the, coming out, it was Boxing Day, total snowstorm. And I looked at it with my lovely Trinidadian accent, and I looked at my mom and I said, "What is that?" Because it was cold. And that was my first introduction to Canada.
Now you were actually living in a snow globe.
Yes, I'm
right?
actually living in a snow globe. So it was my first introduction was Montreal winter.
And was that a positive experience?
No. For the first 6 months, I had asthma attacks. My body wasn't adapting.
Adjusted, yeah.
So my mom moved to Toronto, and that's how we ended up in Toronto.
Much warmer here in Toronto.
Yes. And I flourished in Toronto, went to York University, did sociology and psychology, then worked in social services.
Yeah.
And then I got into life coaching and then spirituality, and just blossomed.
So, okay, and now you're a reverend, right?
Yes, I got my reverend from University of Metaphysics in the States. It's a metaphysical university. Did my BA, and I'm a practitioner as well.
BA. Where is this University of Metaphysics?
It's in Sedona.
Sedona.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you learn there?
I learned about how things are seen in the spiritual realm. So it's a teaching of metaphysics is just basically an understanding of things unknown. So I learned a lot about meditation. So it was a basic introduction to study of spirituality. And at that point in my life, I was looking for something different. Mm-hmm. And I grew up Anglican, and I always loved prayer and meditation, but I felt it was too limited in the Anglican church. Nothing's wrong with it, but just my curiosity. And I grew up a lot around friends who had different ways of worshiping. Mm-hmm. And so when I did my metaphysical study, it was really kind of opened my eyes.
Mm. Well, that's a big topic there. Okay,
yeah.
So maybe we'll get into some of that in a couple of minutes. But then you moved to, what took you to Kingston?
My ex-husband. I was kidnapped to Kingston. So, everybody has a teacher, and people come into your life for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. His reason was to bring me to Kingston. His reason in my life was to sort of introduce me to a different way of seeing and being with divinity. Mm-hmm. I had gone on a spiritual journey. I grew up, my mother became a spiritual Baptist, which is a form of religion and form of worshiping Christ, comes out of the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. So it's a blend of Catholic, Anglican, African traditions, Indian, Hinduism. So you put it all together, and that's a spiritual Baptist church. So that's where I grew up, and I met him there. Wanted to move to Montreal, to Kingston, because it was a halfway point for our families. His was in Montreal, mine was in Kingston, in Toronto, and didn't want to go.
You didn't want to go?
I didn't want to go.
Kingston?
No, didn't want to go. So I did, because, you're married. I thought, okay, let's give it a try. Less than a year later, he left.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but you're still there.
I'm still there.
So what happened? Did you fall in love with Kingston?
I fell in love with Kingston because I started to find different courses. I did my Reiki Masters in Kingston, and I did. Toronto is still my home. I love the excitement here, but it's nice having a blend. And my mom passed away in 2009. My sister at that point was only 12. So my dad moved to Kingston because she was going through a tough time, and we just thought a smaller place would be better for her.
So your whole family's there now? Your sister, your dad?
Yes. She was another reluctant person coming to Kingston.
Your sister. How's she doing now?
She's much better.
She's in high school?
She's almost 20. No, she's not in high school right now. Yeah. She went through a challenging time, and she is my greatest teacher, besides my mother.
Wow. Well, Kingston's not a bad town, though. It's
a great city. It's beautiful.
The university's nice.
The university is nice.
You got the waterfront.
You got the
nice downtown with the stone buildings.
Yes, you got military limestones.
That's right.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a great place to be.
Okay, that's cool. So now what do you do with your reverendship? Do you have a church or?
No, I don't have a church.
Do you get to marry people?
I can. The association that I belong to here is recognized by the Ontario government, and it's a matter of just simply me getting my license, and I just haven't decided to do that because that's not what I want to use it for.
Yeah.
Basically what I do is to inspire women to be divas.
Okay.
In a nice, positive way.
All right. Now, is that what you want to do? Because I guess we sort of originally connected because you were interested in maybe doing a TV show or something.
So what I do, I help women to connect to their inner divinity, and I call it Dare to be a Diva, right? A lot of people say that I'm a diva, but a lot of people think of divas as bad. It's a bad terminology. You know, they come with an entourage, and they don't want to listen. But the word diva comes from deva, which comes from divinity. So I basically, just through my program, and I started to teach Dare to be a Diva, which Diva stands for the acronym, according to me, as divine, intuitive or inspirational, visionary, and awesome. So that's basically my program. I want women to dare to be awesome and dare to connect to their inspiration and their intuition, create a vision for their life, and dare to make every decision by connecting to divinity, their inner divinity.
How about guys, though? Shouldn't they also connect to all that stuff?
Yes, my focus is generally on women, but I do work with men. Yes, I do work with men. When I did my coaching, it talks all about niche marketing, right? So my niche is generally women, but from there, when I connect to women, I naturally connect to men.
All right. So your show, what's the show? Is that part of your overall strategy?
Yeah,
then?
So part of the show would be mainly focusing on the D, living by divinity. So how in every day can you live by divinity? Maybe talking to someone else, talking about what inspires me, what I've learned, sharing stories, because I believe that divinity is in our everyday. It's meeting new people. It's having that personal connection. It's not just going to a building. It's not just setting a time. And I have found that when I have made choices, and the clients that I work and I coach, when they have that inner connection and that inner peace, and they prioritize that, all their other decisions, their business decisions, are done in a more intuitive and a more concrete way.
Yeah. Okay, so who would you have on the show? Like, for example, because you mentioned maybe talking to people about...
Well, I would definitely have like Dawn James. She's the one who introduced me to you. People who have... I want women to know that they are not the only people who have struggled to make that connection. So talk to people, men and women, who have made that leap, who have inspiring stories, who all have found in different ways, different forms, that they have found a connection to their inner divinity, whether it's yoga, vibrational healing, Reiki masters, because I'm so inspired by how people can have a variety of ways of connecting to divinity, but when you really look at it, it feels the same. There's a lot, it might be different, but there's a sameness about it. And I'm generally curious about that. And how does, let's say, a Catholic priest or a nun or a yoga person, how do they bring divinity in their inner world, and and bring it all together and discuss that? So
maybe we'll get a chance later today if you're game, because I think Delanova's coming. Is Delanova coming for one? He might not be here till 2.
Well, we're down here for a while,
Okay.
so you never know.
So we'll see. But so what is that? I mean, what is the divinity within then?
For me, and I can only define it from my personal perspective. And for me, growing up Christian, it was a connection to Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that, growing up in a Christian church, it was still limited. So for me, it's a connection to, people call it God, divine. It's a connection to a higher source that, for me, it's so personal, it's so powerful, it's very much part of everything that I do. Mm-hmm. So what I want to do and what I help people to do is find the simple ways to connect to that through prayer, through meditation, and help that person define what is divinity to them, rather than a religion saying divinity is this to you. Mm-hmm. And that's when I studied metaphysics, how that really opened my eyes, that divinity is really personal. You want a personal relationship with God, not a religious relationship, because it's really personal.
So do you have such a personal relationship?
Yes, I do.
So how does that work?
My personal relationship is through, I really believe in Christ consciousness and Jesus, and I really have a strong connection. And it's very unusual because, a lot of people say, Jesus sounds very Trinidadian. So that's just my concept, right? My concept is that I have a friendship with God and a way of connecting to him or her that's very personal, that through the years it just feels right. It's like a best friend. I do it through prayer, through arguments at times, but a lot of it is through meditation, and I just feel that it feels right, and it helps me with every decision that I make. Perfect example today. And sometimes it's a combination of intuition, or I was coming here and I didn't know that I was going to be in the show. I thought I was going to not just chat with you, and I thought I better prepare. Oh, yeah. And I came and I thought, and just when I was leaving, I packed my boots because I had my winter boots on, and it's these little things like that that I think just makes your life easier and more peaceful.
Yeah, go with the flow.
Go with the flow.
Right?
Trust your inner voice.
Yeah.
Our true intuition is never wrong. It's never wrong. Never wrong. That's what I believe. But we doubt it. We doubt our intuition. Our intuition guides us in everything. Sometimes we don't know. Yeah. Yeah. But it's a knowing, and everyone has it. Some people call it gut feeling. Like you talk to cops or first responders, they have an intuition they shouldn't go into that building. Mm-hmm. They might not think it's God, but it's that intuition. Mm-hmm. And when they follow it, it saves their lives. And when they don't, their lives are at risk. So that's what I believe, that we have an ancient body and an ancient intuition that has guided us so much, and we've lost that connection.
Do you think we're reincarnated? Do you think we reincarnate?
I don't have any proof, but I can't believe that this is all it is.
Yeah. Yeah,
I believe that there's reincarnation.
Yeah.
I don't know who I was before, because I love who I am now.
Yeah.
Even if we reincarnate, I think this is the life that counts. We're living this life. This is the life that I know. I was born Vanessa Ophelia-Rigault. People call me Ophelia from my clients and business. This is the life that I have.
Okay, what about aliens?
Aliens.
The Pope said he was going to baptize aliens if they landed. What do you think?
I don't know about aliens. Maybe they exist. My mind is open. But I'm not going to go follow and, chase them and try to, find them. That's just not my thing. Because my concept of aliens is it's E.T.
Yeah.
And he was cute, but he wanted to go home, and he didn't want to be here.
I know. Well, he was just a kid, though, right?
Well, I don't know. How do we know that he was a kid?
I thought he was like a little alien.
Oh.
He was friends with the kid, right? Lived in the bathtub.
Oh, but all their aliens look like him. So we don't know. Maybe they were aged backwards, and he was an adult.
That could be true.
You never know.
Okay. What do you think the meaning of life is?
To be happy. To be happy in the moment. And to be connected to source and to other people, to help them to be happy, to share your light. And I think it's very simple, but people make it very complicated.
Do you think it's always been that way? Because when you think about history and what's happened throughout history, there's been a lot of. I mean, sometimes I look around and I say, look at the lives that we're leading here today, at least in Canada, and actually most of the world, right? We're not at war.
No.
We're fairly affluent. We got it pretty easy compared to people in the past that had war and famine and pestilence, whatever that is.
Something bad. Something bad that we don't want. I saw a video on YouTube, or it was posted on Facebook, and they were showing an ancient tribe. I think it was in Brazil, and they were talking about how people called them primitive. And they were saying they have no disease, they're connected to their family, all these things that we have lost. So I think that in ancient times, maybe because we didn't have all this technology, there was a greater opportunity for people to connect to divinity because they really didn't have a choice. They had to connect because that was all there was. These things was vast, it was more open, and I believe it's always been there. It just looks different.
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder if, like you look at the world, right? And you sometimes I look at it and I think, well, how are we going to get out of this, right? Whether it's overpopulation or technology that is approaching a singularity, whatever that is, or aliens about to land, or economic or Morgellons disease, chemtrails.
Well, I believe that the way that we stay in it or get out of it is we need to connect to first ourselves.
Yeah.
And we need to make that connection. And if we can just, it sounds simplistic, but I really feel strongly that we do not value some people do not value anyone that's different, anything that's different than how I see it, or...
You don't think we do?
I think that sometimes we don't. Sometimes it's difficult to look at things that's different, that people that are different, because with all this great technology, we've lost that connection to people. Like texting is not the same as calling someone. It's not the same as sitting with someone.
But you can text to meet up.
Yes, it can help.
Right?
But it shouldn't be all of us. It shouldn't be all that we do.
But what do we do? We're not going to get rid of our technology.
No, we're not.
Right?
No, I love my technology.
Yeah.
But I don't prioritize that over connection.
Yeah.
Over making that connection, over being vulnerable with somebody, over the importance of me making time to connect to divinity and to connect to my inner self. That comes first. That's my passion.
Okay.
Because I know it can take me through anything.
Okay.
That's what I want to share and encourage people.
So what do you want to do now? Okay, here we are. We're sitting here. We're talking, right?
Yeah.
And so we have the opportunity here to kind of do anything you want. Because here we are. We're kind of doing a show. Two people talking to each other. We can kind of maybe try a couple things that you might want to try on your show.
Okay.
Right?
So you want to do a meditation? To my audience?
Yeah, okay, we could do that. We could try that. Yeah.
Okay. So if my audience is here, and I would just tell them to close their eyes.
And they're on the internet right now.
On the internet?
So you just look out there. They're on the fourth wall.
On the fourth wall.
You can say hi to them.
Hi.
And so they can close their eyes right now.
So take a breath. And breathe in. And breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. And just close your eyes and feel yourself relaxing from the top of your head to the soles of your feet as you continue to breathe and listen to my voice. And I want you to imagine that you're walking through a long corridor. It's perfectly lit. It's the right temperature. It's white. It's that wonderful feeling. And you're just walking through as you listen to my voice. And you breathe in and you breathe out. And each step you take, you're walking closer and closer to this wonderful door. And breathe in, and another step, and another step, and listen to my voice, and another step, and another step. And you're right by the door now. You open the door, and you see a wonderful beach. You take a breath in, it's wonderful, it's clear, the sun is shining on your face. It's just feeling simply beautiful and awesome. And your feet is just sinking in the sand. And you just simply walk on that sand. And you walk and you walk. And when you get to the water's edge where the waves are coming in and just connecting to the sand, just feel it and breathe in. Feel the peace. Take a moment and just center yourself and be. And just simply be. Just take another breath. And let's be in silence for 10 seconds. And 6, and 5, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. And take another breath and just be. So you can stay here as long as you like. This is how you connect to divinity. This is how you connect to yourself. And when you're ready, you can come back. Namaste.
I'm going to come back right now.
Well, let's come back.
Just because we're doing a show.
Okay. So let's just come back. And back to the door. And listen to my voice and come through the door. And 10, and 9, and 8, and 7, and 6, and 5, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. And you're back.
We're back.
You're back. It's a moment of connection to yourself.
Very cool. That reminds me of, did you ever hear of EST?
EST? No. Yeah. Maybe I haven't, but I don't know.
Oh, I think they changed the name to Landmark Forum.
Okay.
Now, have you heard of that?
I think I've heard of Landmark Forum.
Yeah. Anyway, I did it back in the 80s. Became totally enlightened.
Yes. So that's basically what I do, help people to find ways to get into that quiet space, into that quiet moment, and to celebrate themselves. And as I said, mainly on women, to live as divas.
Now you're a coach, right? An author, a speaker, a minister, and a diva coach.
So I'm a certified life coach. I did that with Coach Training Alliance. It's a certified school through the Coaching Federation. So I'm licensed to be a coach. I have also another coaching, New Life Story. So it helps, it's neuroscience, helps people with changing their mindsets when they're going through difficult times. Mm-hmm. So, and the Diva coach is just my terminology of pulling all of that together. So what my program is basically a combination of my studies in psychology and sociology and metaphysics and really coaching. So the divinity is the core, is helping people to connect to their own spirit and their own concept of divinity. But it's also giving them a plan, a specific plan, which is called New Life Story. Dr. David Kruger is the person who created the program, and it's a roadmap. And I'm a licensed instructor to teach that. So I put that in as part of my program.
So this would be primarily, because you mentioned, the niche, finding your niche, and primarily for women to come, and you can coach them to become
whatever
all they can be, right?
All they can be.
Yeah.
And I basically used to do the coaching without the concept of the spirituality part, and I found naturally it came in because that's who I am. So people, when they go to a coach, they go to someone that they feel has a similar story to them, has a, that they recognize them, they relate to them. So, my clients would say, well, how did you get to where you were? And I would always say was my connection to divinity. So I naturally brought that in because it's very important.
And you mentioned also an author? What?
Yes, what? I've been an author in 3 books. They were published, one by Mimley Publishing and Professional Women's Association from the States. And I've been an author in all of those books, which is writing about inspirational stories. And I'm putting out a new, it's going to be a CD in a CD format, which is called Dear Beautiful Ones, You're So Loved. And what it is, it's basically when I'm in meditation, I get messages and from the Holy Spirit and just a sense of what I feel. So this is going to be a 4-part CD put out in the next 3 to 4 years. The first one is called You're So Loved, and basically messages and meditations.
And people will be able to get that from your website?
They'll be able to get it from my website. My goal is to get it out in the spring to the summer. So I'm doing my recordings in the spring, and it'll be on MP3 and on CD format.
And then speaking as well. Do you have any speaking engagements coming up?
I have some arranged. I'm actually going to Mexico. That's just a conference. I have a couple of things happening in Kingston, and possibly doing going back to the Spiritual Center in Ottawa coming up. I haven't firmed up the date.
Okay, but I'm assuming all that will be available, or the announcements.
All of it will be on
my
website. Yes.
Which is, we should just tell them one more time. There it is.
DivaCoachOphelia.com.
Perfect. And I guess for people in Kingston especially, right? Because that's where you're living. But
yeah, but I work virtually, and so most of my clients, because I also do intuitive consultations where I work online through a company called Live Person. So I have clients from all over the world. That's how I started into my spiritual business. So I have clients all over the world, and they just call me through that service.
Plus, you visit Toronto.
I visit Toronto, and I'm here.
And you're here right now.
Yes, and hopefully we'll have a show. It's called Living by Divine, which will be wonderful. I'll be back here more often.
Okay, great. Well, it's been good to meet you.
Thank you very much.
And to have this conversation. We're going to, I guess, sign off for now, but then I'll show you around, and we can talk about the show and the next steps and that sort of thing.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to take a little break, waiting for Della Nova to show up, talk about the new revelation as Liquid Lunch. We'll continue in a little bit right here on thatchannel.com.